Good evening. This is Mehmet Sinan Ertek. Dear audience, welcome to Turkish Economics program. Today, we will talk about two different economic concepts of formation and some development about this subject, which come until today. As usual, we have many distinguished guests with you. We have two groups now. First group stand for go by the name of classic economy, such as Adam Smith and David Ricardo's works. You know they are very important titans. Our friends Mr. Can, Mr. Tunar, and Ms. Demir will talk about generation of classic economy, facts, and contributions of national economy. On the other hand, we cannot exactly say that the classic economy is total opposite of Keynesian economy. However, Keynesian economy has many differences from various aspects. Our other group will talk about that Keynesian is more beneficial and more logical than classic economy. Also, they will mention the Keynesian discussions and Keynesian policies in 1950s, 1960s. Shortly, let me introduce second group member. They are Mr. Gümüş, Mr. Şimşek, and Ms. Gün. When I recognize to them, they will give more detail about themselves. So as we know, masterminds Adam Smith and Keynes offer an insight into the world economy. In present day, they played a significant role for shaping fiscal policies and monetary policies. Economic condition, when they lived, it show up new ideas and they developed economic policies which is recovered from crisis of their country. When my friend tell you that topics, I think we will understand better. Now, let's start, my dear friends, Mr. Can. He joined us in Bursa. Yes, Mr. Emre Can, can you introduce yourself shortly? After that, talk about your opinion. Dear Emre Can, can you mention basis of a classic economy view and some classicist opinion? Mr. Can?
Okay, hello everyone. I'm Emre. I'm a student at Yalova University Business Administration. I'm going to talk about fundamentals of classical economists and some classical economists, for example, who are they? Adam Smith, David Ricardo, Say, and Mill. However, firstly, I want to thank Mr. Ertek for letting me explain these ideas.
You're welcome.
Let's go. Occurring theories of economics holds on the age which is before old Greeks. However, today's fundamentals of economics thinking was bandied about by Adam Smith, who was leader of classical economic thinking. The most important factor of occurring this idea is industrial revolution. In 1776, Adam Smith's book, Wealth of Nations, the book, which was judging why some countries are rich and some of them are poor. And the guys are liking this idea. Who are they? David Ricardo, John Stuart Mill, and Baptist Say enrich this thinking. Let's start with Adam Smith. Adam Smith was born in Scotland. He was interested in philosophy and mathematics when he was 14 in Glasgow University. After the 1760s, he started to interested with economy and he started to work at Edinburgh Customs. We can a lot of information about Adam Smith more. However, the most important information about him we have to know is Wealth of Nations. This book became beginning of classical economics thinking. Let me explain what Wealth of Nations mentions about. Firstly, there is disagreement between classical and neoclassical economists about the central message of Smith's invisible hand, a concept mentioned in the middle of his work. Classical economists believe that Smith stated his program for promoting the wealth of nation in the first sentences, which attributes the growth of wealth and propensity to the division of labor. Smith used the term the invisible hand in History of Astronomy, referring to invisible hand of Jupiter, and once in each of his the theory of moral sentiments and the wealth of nations. The last statement about an invisible hand has been interpreted in numerous ways. Sorry. Moreover, Adam Smith mentioned the concept as perfect competition, capital, invisible hand, labor, and price. According to him, in perfect competition, when companies increase the maximum level they'll profit just as they serve people's profit. For example, when it decreases the price level in perfect competition, people take advantage of this. In capital, he says the capital is everything increasing the labor like machine, any other thing. According to him, the tax is applied a good decreases the production and benefit of people and state. Actually, we can say much more thinking of him, but I don't want to spend time more. My friends keep explaining already. I think Adam Smith is very, very valuable person of economics history. Some Keynesians says that Adam Smith's thinking is non-correct in this age, and they say the full employment is impossible in the market. However, I'm not agree with them because if we provide Adam Smith provisions, there is no reason to not become full employment in markets. And Keynesians concentrate on the demand, but it's non-correct because if there is no production, we cannot demand any product. Thus, this situation necessitates us going towards supply in market economy. So I agree with classical economists and I believe classical economics model is more helpful than Keynesian for us. Friends, that's all. I hope you enjoy listening to me, Mr. Artek.
We listen, Mr. Can. Thank you, Mr. Can. Now,
You're
Semih,
welcome.
thank you again. Now, Semih Tunar will talk about fundamental assumption of classic economy and theories. Okay, Mr. Tunar, let's begin.
Hello everyone, I am Semih. I am a student at Yalova University. My department is Business Administration. I am talking about the basic assumption of the theory of classical economics. Based on a long period in economic analysis, the level of full employment, the economy is in balance and always spontaneously. The balance in a stable economy at full employment level. So the full employment level of the economy imbalance when broken by an external supply or demand shocks, the economy will return automatically to full employment level. A market mechanism is available. Companies, they try to maximize their profits, the benefits of consumers. In imperfectly competitive markets aren't accepted. How much will it cost and how much companies produce goods that consumers, instead of buying at fully flexible prices, according to they decide to market your property. They study how much workers and employers, so firms that they can employ workers in the labor market, full flexible real wage according to the site. In the classical model, monetary sector and the real sector are separated from each other. Monetary changes can't affect the values of the variables, resulting in values of real variables. According to the theory of classical macroeconomics, the economy is the replacement of the goods with essential goods. In this context, consists of just a tool that facilitates the exchange of money. Firms and consumers have complete information regarding market conditions. Business and consumers assume they know everything about production and market condition and prices before the exchange. Companies and consumers have expectations about the future as stable and static. According to the forecast about the future of the economy, companies and consumers large changes in the variables from year to year based on the assumption that doesn't happen. They do. Theories in classical economics, Say's law, saving, investment and interest theory, classical wage theory, and quantity theory. That's all I have to explain right now. I hope you aren't bored while listening to me. Thanks. Mr. Artek?
Thank you too, Mr. Tunar. Thanks for all opinion. Now, our next speaker is Merve Demir. She will mention new perspective of classic economy and 1930s fiscal policies.
Hello
Mr.
everyone.
Demir. Hello.
I'm Merve. I'm a student at Yale University Business Administration. Neoclassical economic theory was introduced early 1870s. Neoclassical economic theory portrays labor variable theory and problems from this theory and introduced benefit variable theory. This was divergent point of view between the two schools. The fundamental of neoclassical consists of rationality and maximum benefit. The most known now neoclassical economists are Francis H. Ward, Alfred Marshall, Edward Chambers. Et al. Condition the budget should be in balance, government spending should be financed by taxes. This was orthodox opinion in 1920s. During depression, when the unemployment increases, spending and unemployment payment increases, therefore the balanced budget was in danger. Spending should be cut for the balanced budget. The result was that more unemployment payment are needed. Treasury, official and classical economic statements, unemployment decreased. Many committee for budget problems budget 20% decrease. Labour Party elected for claiming overcome unemployment problems budget 10% reducing. This way colleges of party. Philip Snowden, the Minister of Finance from the Labour Party, said in 1941 that the retired people and children should contribute the savings to balance the budget. But Keynes claims that the expenses should fall by overcoming the unemployment, not by saving. Now that deficit was intended to try to balance the budget cause economy sharing the deteriorating of unemployment rate. Engels before World War I continues on being international trade of financial supplies. Classical economists believe that free trade should be supported and is to be made to turn on the gold standard. Deflationist policies in 1920s were seen because of increases of unemployment rates. While some economists insist that government should raise the payment threshold of bicycle and other economists were not agree. With the opinion that unemployment rises due to insufficient payment, they also disagree with that government should increase expenses. The returning to the gold standard from old currency required the reducing Wi-Fi price. Difficulties occurred after the returning currency account balance deficiency was seen. The wage and price couldn't reduce the wage and price sufficiently in short time to hinder import and increase export, and the gold went abroad. After the collapse of the Wall Street in 1929, world trade also collapsed and exports decreased. So control bank handed enough gold to support the currency policy. England gave up the gold policy and Stalin began to Holocaust. And thanks for listening to me. My turn is over right now, Mr. Arctic.
Thank you, Mr. Demir, Mrs. Demir. Yes, dear audience, we listened defender of classic economy concept, Emre Can, Semih Tunar, and Merve Demir told us about this topic. Next group going to start with Ahmet Gümüş. He will talk about John Maynard Keynes and Keynesian economy in general. Here we are say, Mr. Gümüş.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Artek. Firstly, I want to say I'm really happy to be here, and the atmosphere is really great.
Thank you.
I want to start by introducing myself to the subject. My name is Ahmet Gümüş, and I'm a student at Yalova University, like other friends. Now I'm in Sakarya, and this is a good example for distance is not important for the communication. First of all, thank you for defender of classical economics, friends. You gave to us valuable information, but in generally we have different opinions for the subject. And the rest of the session, I and my group friends, Ms. Gün and Mr. Şimşek, will consider them. Now, I want to talk about in generally from Keynes and Keynes economy. Who is Keynes? John Maynard Keynes was born in 5th of June 1883 in Cambridge, England, an English economist. Considered to be one of the most influential economists of the 20th century and the founder of modern macroeconomics. His ideas are the basis for the school of thought known as Keynesian economics, and it varies of shot. Keynes, in the name of better understanding, he has not only economist, in addition to being an economist, was also a civil servant, a director of the Bank of England, a part of the Bloomsbury group of intellectuals, a patron of the art and art collector, a successful private investor, a writer, a philosopher, and he is a farmer. In the 1930s, Keynes spearheaded a revolution in economic thinking, challenging the ideas of the neoclassic economists that held the free markets would, in the short to medium term, automatically provide full employment as long as workers were flexible in their wage demands. He instead argued that aggregate demand determined the overall level of economic activity, and that indicate aggregate demand could lead to prolonged periods of the high unemployment. According to Keynesian economists, state intervention was necessary to moderate and put cycle of economic activity. Keynes advocated the use of fiscal and monetary policies to mitigate the adverse effect of economic recession and depression. Following the outbreak of World War II, Keynes' ideas concerning economic policy were adopted by leading Western economists. Yeah, it shows that importance of the Keynes economy. Keynes unfortunately died in 1946, but during the 1950s and in 1960s, the success of Keynesian economics resulted in almost all capitalist governments adopting its policy recommendation. Unfortunately, in 70s, Keynes' economic model a little lost in their effect. However, the advent of the global financial crisis of 2007 and 2008 caused a resurgence in Keynesian thought. Head of government, including U.S. President Barack Obama, was applied Keynesian economy to recover from the crisis. This shows us that again, Keynes' economic model is the best solution for today's economy. I think this is enough to explain the importance of Keynes. That's all. I'm sorry I talked a little bit longer, but finally, thank you for giving me this opportunity. Mr. Ertek?
Thank you, Mr. Gümüş. Now, we are going to connect another speaker, Enes Şimşek. He will mention Keynesian discussions and neoclassic Keynesians and fundamentalistic Keynesian. Have your say, Mr. Şimşek. Here you are.
Hi, from Bodrum. I am Enes. I am studying business at Yalova University. Before I speak, I want to thank Mr. Atek for everything, and I'm glad to be here. First of all, I would like to talk about Keynes and Keynesian discussion in demand-side economic theory. Economics has been interpreted Keynes' general theory and taught in other words. Because of like this discussion, some currents in different literature show up. We can sum up this current shortly. 1. Neoclassic Keynesian economics. In 1936, after G.M. Keynes published his own general theory, Higgs contributed to this theory for to be recognized. In the most famous essay written by Higgs in 1937, Higgs comparing Keynes' opinion in his own general theory with classical economics' basic principles. In fact, he synthesized to two theories, take affected in Waller's general equilibrium model. Thus, his own interaction in Keynes' general theory, he comments within this scope. Higgs as a geometric balance of short-term income and employment levels and interest rates. The money supply has agreed to set at a level equal to the demand for money. Hansen improved his comment and its name is Higgs-Hansen model in economic literature. Its authors Samuelson and James Tobin's work significantly improved. 2. Fundamentalist Keynesian economics. A group of economists led by Schlegel criticized the neoclassical economics. He said that real Keynesian economics in the Keynes' general theory. In 1938, Schlegel wrote uncertain called Basis of Keynes Economics. Schlegel and Paul Dawson continued to studies on the Keynesian original work. And finally, this research summarizes deflation caused by 1929 Great Depression and indicates production and development for the solution of economic problems such as unemployment, demand-side economics theories, basic principles, and analytical framework. Initially, the premise economics Keynes' work, which is money, interest and unemployment, and Keynes' economic theory changed as Keynesian economics with contributions of other economics, especially in the 1950s and 1960s. Keynesian economics has a golden year. Keynesian economics is applied in some countries in these years. Afterwards, there are some disagreements and division among Keynesian economists in the 1970s. In the literature, neoclassical Keynesian economics, fundamentalist, anti-Wallersian Keynesian become the main topic of conversation. That's all. I hope you are not bored for listening to me. Thank you, Mr. Ertek.
Okay, Mr. Şimşek, thanks for this opinion. Lastly, dear friends, Ayşegün will talk about 1950s and 1960s Keynesian policies. Mr. Gün,
Thank you, Mr.
please go ahead.
Hi, friends. I am Ayşe. I am a student at Yalova University. I will talk about Keynesian policies 1915 and 1916. In the 1920s in England, the classic strategy of all the governments of the parties were defending the opinion of which is a balanced budget. At the end of the Second World War, consensus has changed. Both conservative governments from 1945 until the middle of 1970s. Both Labour governments provide stability to prevent a shortage or a surplus of demand in the economy, and Keynesian demand management policies began to implement. When the economy started to grow very fast with rising inflation and month of payment deficits, the government is implementing contractionary monetary and fiscal policies work. When you are well enough this time, inflation and balance of payments, rising unemployment and failing or no growth, along with implementing the government's expansionary monetary and fiscal policies work. In the UK, the rate of unemployment was only 3.8%, average inflation rate of only 0.7. Also, in the same way, other industrialized countries, low unemployment and inflation rate. However, from the mid-1960s, short-term demand management policies criticism began to increase. The main point of criticism were, one, policies in ensuring the stability of the economy was not very successful. Productionization was still underway. Some economists even claimed that he would increase even more the off-demand management policy. The main reason for this situation is was shown for time that is required for the functioning and implementation of the policy. 2.8 annual percentage around the UK long-term growth rate was lower than we from other developed countries prominently. 3. The meaning of balance of payment problems consistently are working at capacity and unemployment is rising even though is the economy missing. 4. The most fundamental criticism came from monetary. In the midterm, since among economists, Keynesian monetary distinction was reflected in the political parties. Thank you, Mr. Herde. Thank you for listening to me.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Yun. We listened to dear friends. Thanks to all. I am glad to listen to you. Yes, dear audience. Today we told about classic economy with Emrecan, Semih Tunar, and Merve Demir. After that, Ahmet Gümüş, Enes Şimşek, and Ayşegün told us Keynes and Keynesian economy. I hope we see you another broadcast. Goodbye until we meet again. Thank you.
See you.
See you.
See you.
See you.